felt it was viewed as a positive to say that there wasn't turnover in the workforce, people learning their jobs, that was seen as an advantage.
It could stay as a trend.
You call that a strength,
Right.
and it wouldn't be under trend.
Right, and that's what they have. They have it.
Things that are changing more or less over time.
No,
I
well,
would move that to a strength.
What?
Move it to strength,
Yeah.
get it out of there.
They just thought of
either
this
there
whole
or under
category as
trends,
erroneous,
because
huh?
it's ongoing.
Well, we did have a little instability there for a while.
A short period.
Little.
It's a short period. I mean,
A little.
I was the town administrator, finance director, that's a minor positions.
That's true.
But police chief, fire chief.
Other than that, everything else stays.
Captains,
It's
lieutenants.
stable. Treasurer collector.
Treasurer collector. Assessor.
They've all turned over. In 3 years.
Okay?
Yeah, so we're hoping for some longevity now.
But the union people don't.
I guess they just felt that trends was just a erroneous
The
category,
rest
huh?
we don't feel we're basic trend.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Where do we go from here? Do we want to have another session after October town meeting, maybe?
I thought the gentleman was very helpful in helping us, first of all, get started and get going, and I think it'd be very helpful to help pull it together to help us establish and get going on the strategic plan and stuff we need to.
You know, I think the next vital piece is to actually put a plan together with a calendar and lay it out, and that's going to take a whole session.
And I think having an outside person assist us in doing that is key. Because in order to, we tend to, we have plenty on our plate anyway, so does the administration. I just think it forces the issue more quickly and gives us some outside assistance and guidance, pulling it together more quickly. So I think it's a good idea. I thought it was very useful.
Other
I agree
comments?
with Steve. I think it'd be worthwhile to do this session. I don't know if we could actually pull it together ourselves, so help with a third party can, once again.
I think it would be if we knew what he was gonna do for us. I mean, this first one we had, it was very informative, it was good, we come out of it with this, but what is he gonna do for us that we maybe couldn't do ourselves? So, you know, that's the
Make it
question I'm
happen.
asking.
Why get-
Well, no,
make it happen?
Steve, he can't make it happen. We have to make it happen
I understand.
by convincing and overrides, et cetera, et cetera. So all he can help us do is to generate, for lack of a better term, a list of things we'd like to see done. And I don't really know if we would have to bring an outsider in.
I'd say establishing a calendar and having him kind of help us work
Well,
our
we
way
could do
through it
that.
and mediate it.
I think
You know,
one,
I
it
think of an
made it
outside
much more
mediator.
efficient too, is it allowed the chairman to participate. Where
Yeah.
normally, if we're doing this, the chairman is running the meeting, and, you know, it's not easy to do that and to fully participate. You know, we're all at
Yeah.
one level, providing input to this thing.
That's his profession.
So
So
I-
he did for Falmouth, or one of the towns in the Cape. He's able to focus us. I think he'll be able to allow us to get a plan together, maybe a session. And then, Joe, you're right. And at that point, we need to implement it. But I think we
Yeah.
need that third party to guide us in that direction and get us to that point. So I think the second session would be very worthwhile.
You know, I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but I'd like to know where it's gonna take us that we couldn't go ourselves. And I understand what you're saying, Mr. Michelle, about the chair. But I certainly think Mr. Valuconis could run the meeting, you know, I don't know, I'm not opposed to it, but I just,
Joe, could I say,
Yeah, sure, go
you and
ahead.
I have sat here for a long time, and we've talked about goals and objectives and all these other things, year in, year out, some years,
Right.
year in, year out, and some years we skipped a couple of years in between. And
Right.
it's just because we get preoccupied with our regular agenda, and then stomping out the brush fires in the meantime that pop up, have a tendency to pop up. And we've never really, as a board, since I've been sitting here, since 1988, really been able to sit down and even get this far. I don't think we've ever gotten this far.
Right.
And I think it's a very useful exercise, not just for the current seated board, but for future boards, to have some sort of a guideline to work from, and eventually a strategic plan that will be a constant state of flux to modify it and to measure ourselves against, and keep us focused on.
Yeah,
That's what we've been missing for a long time, and I think this is money well spent, and I don't even know what it is, but it's money well spent for the direction of the community, which should come anyway from this board. And I think this outside source is a resource that we should take advantage of, because I think collectively, we're quite capable of doing it. We just can't get ourselves to sit down and do it because of everything else that's going on. And when we have someone that we're actually paying, we're forced to do it, and it's a good thing to do, and it's something we should have done a long time ago, so.
but, and I agree, Steve, to the point that, yes, we could have another meeting and force ourselves to do it without an outside party. I mean, if we met again for one purpose, we would be forcing ourselves to do it.
I find this
Yeah.
facilitator, though, this is his forte. This is his cup of tea, and this is his expertise, which, the only one that I really know well enough that even comes close to having that capability is Bob, pulling this thing together. I know I don't.
Right, no, I know.
I mean, I'm certainly opinionated, and I'm not shy about expressing it, but to put it all together and pull it all together, that's what this person does for a living, and I think it's...
If you went into a private sector, you'd find the largest of corporations with tons of resources using outside consultants to do this very thing.
And, yeah, I agree, Bob, and that's because they have tons of resources, but we don't unfortunately have the
This is
tons of
not
resources.
this is,
You know,
we didn't spend a lot of money to do this, and to do
no, I
one
know we
more
did, yeah,
session
no, I'm not,
isn't gonna,
yeah, no, I'm not gonna vote no on it. I'm just saying, I just wouldn't want to spend the money if it's something that maybe we could do on our own. That's all, but I'm not opposed to it, but,
Again, I for one don't feel confident enough to move it along.
okay.
I don't know if anybody else does either. And again, I just think it's,
I didn't know what SWAT was,
yeah,
all right, so.
I misspelled it.
okay, so, I'm thinking sometime after October town meeting, and before we get totally inundated and involved with the
Yeah.
2010 budget. And we'll work out a date, and Greg can get back to us on that. And we'll do it, October tends to be a busy month. We'll have a separate meeting for that again.
Yeah,
And I thought that was a good place to do it, down at the Hillview.
It works. I agree.
Just as long as they have the York pepperoni patties still available.
they don't have any more.
Who provided those?
There's no more.
They don't have any more.
Oh, it was the Hillview.
Maureen has a question.
They had plenty of them.
Yes, Maureen.
What is the facility's name and what is the cost of
His name's Gerard Bruno. Gerard.
And he's located in Wilmington. Greg can tell you the number.
$800 to $1,000 per session.
And that session went about 4 hours.
And that's not all his costs, that's some extra costs included on there, but that's the total upstack for both sessions.
Okay. Any other comments before we move on to the town administrator's report? Mr. Falconis.
Board members, I'd ask you just to refer to the main sheet that's in the packet. It's quite lengthy. I have a couple meetings. I haven't had an opportunity to give you an update. Our last session was dedicated to the strategic plan exercise. There are a few things that I think is important to update you on. First is some good news concerning the roof project here at Town Hall. As you know, the work is done. The project was completed within the project schedule and under budget. I provided you with a breakdown of expenses associated with the project. The total project came in at $576,957. and the total amount that we had budgeted for the project was $650,000. And you can see that the base contract for the general contractor was $493,000. We had additional costs, which are the costs of when you're doing the roof. There are unforeseen things that you can't estimate when the bid is being put in, or these would be change orders totaling $31,760. We have our architectural fee of $50,000. The building cleanup and restoration totaling $1,993. And then we have miscellaneous out-of-pocket expenses for drop cloths, fans, et cetera, of $203. We are presently reviewing an extended warranty on the roof, which would increase our warranty for about a cost of $1,500, and that would provide us with a full 20-year warranty with manufacturer's inspections and a maintenance program. And kind of leaning that that would be money well spent. The contractor that was here, they've been in business for a long time. It's not someone that is in and out of the municipal sector. They finished 2 weeks ahead of what the original project schedule was. As you know, if you drove by the project, there was many as, one day I think we had 29 people on group working here. But also compliments to the town's construction management team, which was led by John Welch and Kevin Buckley from KBA Architects. So that is a report on the project, and I don't expect with the, perhaps with the warranty on the roofing being expended, that there'll be any additional costs associated with the project.
Just a question. We appropriated in an article the $650.
Right.
I don't remember the wording of the article, but could it be used to do some work on windows and things like that?
Yes, it could. The statute provides that you can use any excess amount on a borrowing project so long as the term on the new portion or the new expenses is similar to the portion on the roof. So certainly windows would be within the same scope in terms of useful life as a window project. You couldn't use it for vehicles or something like that, which would have a shorter lifespan.
And our other option is just not to use it and basically borrow less.
That's right. Okay. And we don't have to true up those costs until we borrow and supply.
So we go to permanent bonding on this in
September of 2008.
Is there any consideration for using the residuals for needed repair? I mean, the windows haven't been here, right? Haven't been done
I believe
since the building was built.
an estimate has been put together for replacement of the windows here at Town Hall. At this point, it would be something that we would look to as part of our capital improvement plan. There are also other opportunities, I understand, through Senator Tarr's office. Perhaps there's some availability of funds to be able to do that work through the state.
But you still have to go for the money up front, generally. You would say, well, I mean, so we've got, again, this has already been forecasted into our budgetary plan as far as
That's right.
cost.
It was approved debt.
Right, so it's approved. I just think it's, the way that the market is right now, obviously, it's a good time to be doing some projects, particularly when we already have some funding for it. And it's something that we're gonna be tackling anyway.
Problem is the rough estimate for the windows is about twice that amount.
Oh, I understand,
that is.
but you get started on it, and
Yeah.
if there's some other funds available, then you augment it, you know, I don't know what the state programs that we're talking about is, but how much money are we talking about there?
You mean in terms of what we could possibly receive through a grant?
Right.
We don't know at this point. Obviously, we'd like to receive everything. We'd like to receive a full grant, but we don't know what the reality of that's going to be. But we will program into our CIP the cost of the windows, so you can expect that that'll be on. Going forward for the October town meeting, we'll come forward with an estimate to get the windows done. Just
What about the residual funds here, this $74,000. As far as permanent bonding, I don't see us, I mean, you're talking about going out to permanent bonding prior to October town meeting.
But we don't have to permanently borrow this portion of the project. If